Okay, we're live. Welcome everybody to the AMA session here with ESP. I'm Eric Lloyd, CEO of the project, and we've had a lot of interesting activity happen over the last 6 or 8 weeks, and so some things we want to talk a little bit about, but more importantly, we want to get an opportunity to answer any of the questions that the community is going to have. There's been a lot of stuff that we've seen on Telegram and some direct messaging that I've received through various means. And I thought it's a great opportunity to kind of get everybody up to speed and then talk a little bit more about what the future looks like, where the token is going, the business use cases and timelines and so on and so forth. But let's first start off with the big news for us. The beginning of this year was the launch of ESP on the Bianance Smart Chain. This was a significant event for us. We want to have basically a layer 2 solution that reduces gas fees and transaction costs, which we'll utilize when we start to bring out the different use cases. Launching on Binance also meant that we need to have a conduit between the two platforms. The first one, of course, we're on Ethereum and we remain so, but we needed a bridge that got us to BSC. So I guess late last week or earlier on last week, we finally completed the bridge between the two networks, so you can seamlessly move tokens between BSC and Ethereum and back. The networks work a little bit differently. We mint tokens on arrival on BSC when tokens come in from the Ethereum network, and when they go back to the Ethereum network, we burn them on the BSC side. On the Ethereum side, we don't have the minting capability, and therefore the tokens are then locked in the smart contract in the bridge. So they're taken out of circulation when you have coins that are circulating on the BSC side. Let me just check to here, see if anybody's on yet. Can't really tell. Okay, well, we're still broadcasting. Good. So, that covers off the bridge, and we can take a quick look at how that bridge works. Additionally, one of the other big things that we want to do to enhance the community was activate the staking, and we have two different staking options currently available. We have staking through Bitmart, directly on the exchange, so you don't have to move tokens across the bridge and into the BSC side. And we cover times of 30, 60, and 90 days, though I think the 30-day allocation's already been consumed. But certainly the 60 and 90 are there at higher APYs. For those that want to be long-term stakers and support the project that way, as we get the business cases up and running where we'll start to see real value show up for the token, the other option is moving your tokens to BSC and then staking them in the contract there. Again, the reason why we've done this is to reduce overall cost of the tokens and excuse me, remove the overall cost of the tokens for the transaction. So the staking into the contract cost well under $1 compared to what we were experiencing on the Ethereum side with the previous staking protocol, where costs at a minimum were around $50 or $60. But we've had reports, because of the wildly fluctuating gas price, where some token holders ended up paying almost $200 in gas fees just to stake. And then, of course, you have virtually the same cost to unstake the tokens once the time is completed. So this seemed to be very expensive and a major barrier to adoption or use. So that was the other reason why we moved our staking option from the Ethereum side to BSC. So there still is the gas fee of moving your tokens from Ethereum to BSC. So the one transfer there will cost you, the 15 or 20 or $30. But then after that, once you're in the BSC side, token transfers and whatnot are pennies. And the staking is, again, just tens of cents, maybe 20, 30, or 40 cents. So the cost is very little. We do not have direct access with Bitmart through BSC currently. We'll see if we can get that activated downstream. The tokens are pegged 1-to-1, so they have the same value on either side of the bridge. But we have enabled Pancake Swap on the BSC side. So again, it's very easy to actually swap directly on Pancake Swap or even through MetaMask just by using the swap function there. It knows how to link to Pancake and other swapping services to effectively swap the token. So some people have already taken advantage of that, but we expect that as time goes on, that will increase. Let me just bring up my Telegram here to see if we are getting people on. Okay, we are live. Okay, so part of the transition there is also getting prepared for launching the use cases, and our next use case is Talk2Expert. Everybody's probably seen the video where we're launching a content delivery platform where creators get to earn for the content that they create directly, and we're trying to service a market that is virtually untapped in the developing world by offering a very low-cost platform that will help enhance one's personal skills in business, personal branding, technology, some do-it-yourself, arts and entertainment, these types of things. So we have experts that are producing content now, and we hope to get this thing live. Certainly, we want to have this done before the end of the month. I'm going to say we're challenged there. The content creation process is taking longer than anticipated, and we also want to make sure we get it right, that the quality's there. It's a fairly complex process where we have content creators from around the world. We'll need to subtitle for the various languages that we are targeting. Specifically, we will launch in Vietnam first, so that will require that we go through the translation services for the subtitling and getting the final product ready for live production or live broadcasting. Okay, let's just see here if anybody's. I don't think we have anybody on here though. Okay, guys, at any time, feel free to answer any questions. One of the things we can quickly look at here is maybe we'll take a look at what the bridge is doing. So how about I switch to that here? So it's very simple to utilize the bridge, and we'll just showcase this really quickly. Let me get rid of that thing. And all you need to do is make sure that your wallet on both the Bianance Smart Chain and Ethereum side has some BNB on the Binance side, ETH on the Ethereum side to pay for gas transactions. So with MetaMask, and I'm just going to disconnect here from the site here, and I will just refresh here so you can see that everything is completely blank. There's no information here. If I look at MetaMask, I make my network selection just by selecting the top here, so I can either select Ethereum mainnet or the Smart Chain. We have all the other test networks here. And why don't I just run through a real quick transaction. So I want to send tokens from Ethereum to Binance. So the first thing I need to do is connect. I will connect to MetaMask. I will say that right now this only works with MetaMask. We've not proven any of the other wallets. So please only use MetaMask just to make sure that no tokens get lost in any of the other efforts. So we're only going to be supporting the certified that we've tested platforms, and MetaMask is it. Now I do also understand that there's an issue with the mobile version of MetaMask, and this is through an upstream provider that we use named Morales, and they're working that issue, and hopefully we'll have that resolved maybe later today. Okay, so the first thing you're gonna do is when you connect to the wallet, it's going to ask you to sign in, and I'm going to connect to MetaMask. There we go. And it should bring up my wallet balances both on the Ethereum network, both the amount of VSP I have and how much ETH. Same thing on the Binance network, how many tokens I have, and of course how much BNB I have. I'm going to send these 99 million tokens that I have, so I'm just going to click 100% to send it over now. It's as quick as clicking transfer now. It goes and does what's called a pre-flight check to make sure that you have the proper requirements on each side. We're going to sign the request to create the transfer. We've not spent any gas yet doing this. We're just signing the request. It's going to create what's called the transfer. Once this transfer is ready, it's going to prompt you to actually confirm the transfer. At this point, you will spend gas fees. So we'll see here that this particular transfer is going to cost us $14.77 with Ethereum. It's going to update again with the new gas fee. So we're just going to confirm that. Let it run through its process. Now this unfortunately takes a few minutes because we have to wait till the confirmations, block confirmations filter through, so the transaction gets picked up, then gets confirmed, and then we have a certain number of confirmations to validate that everything's working. So this unfortunately will take a minute or so. So as we're waiting for that transaction to clear, we can talk a little bit about what happens after here. Now that we've had the bridge, we also activated the staking. So we have stake.espcoin.io, where you're able to then just effectively take what you were able to do in Ethereum before, now on the Bianance Smart Chain side. So you can pledge your tokens into the contract, and for a period of 180 to 365 days with APYs starting at 50 and ending at 80%. So if you stake for a year, you can earn 80% APY for the staking. So we're still, looks like we got through the first bar movement's the most important thing, because that's the token actually getting its first confirmation it was picked up. Now we're just waiting for the remaining confirmations to complete, which I think we wait for 8 or 10, something like this. I'll have to ask the development team to look at that, or not look at that, but tell me what the number is. So as we continue on that. The staking is there. We've actually also embedded the bridge on the staking page, so you can actually do both on the same page. You can you can use the bridge first to get the tokens over, and then once that's done, you can then directly stake into the contract. But for some, that's a little bit more complicated. I like doing it separately here. So the send tokens, the transaction ID is basically the tokens moving from your wallet to the bridge contract. And so that's the transaction ID for that. Excuse me. Once that the bridge has received those tokens, it's now communicating to the other chain, and in this case, the Bianance Smart Chain. That we've got a secure transaction that's arrived in the bridge, initiate the transaction on the other side. So it takes a few moments to do that because, again, there's some more confirmations involved. We have to be very secure with how we handle the interchain communication, because this is one of those points where security is a very important factor, because it's off-chain, right? So we're using external resources in order to facilitate the chain-to-chain communication. So once the tokens have gone through that process, we'll switch networks to the Bianance Smart Chain, and then the system will then initiate a transfer from the smart contract on the BSC side into your BSC address wallet, which it's the same address on both sides of in both networks, because these are both Ethereum compatible networks. The same address can be used. So MetaMask will pop up, allow the site to switch the network. Of course, we want to switch the network. It will do that, and now it's going to ask us to receive the tokens, and you can see here that the BNB value is 0.00047. That's like 8 cents or something like this. So hopefully we don't have any issue here. Typically the Binance side's a little bit faster, but that's all that's involved. Yeah, we already got our first confirmation, so just in a couple of moments we'll be able to move things through. All right. While that's clearing out, I'm just going to go back to see if we get some communication from people and answer any questions. So let's go here. All right. And on the Telegram side, what do we got here? Telegram. Bear with me 1 second. I'm listening, sir. I would like to ask, Jackie's asking, I'm listening. I would like to ask, what is the marketing plan for the project in short term and long term? Good question. So as we move through the last half or the last quarter of last year, we had spent quite a large sum of money on marketing for the coin specifically. This was to try to get more users on the Bitmart and whatnot, and this just coincided, I mean, perfectly with the Bitmart hack, where $304 million was stolen from Bitmart on December the 4th, and literally on December the 3rd, we had spent the vast majority of our marketing budget to really do a big push moving forward. Because at that point in time, the token had started to gain some fairly significant momentum. We had more than doubled the price. Volume was coming up. The user base was coming to the token. After the hack, there were 10 days there where Bitmart was not allowing deposits and any interaction really from the outside world into Bitmart, which meant that all the money that we were spending on promoting the token outside of Bitmart to get people coming in was just totally wasted. So unfortunately that caused a bit of a cascade for us, and we saw the reduction in price after December 4th pretty dramatically. Also during that time, we had the maturity of all of our seed investors come due, so some of them took advantage of the situation and liquidated some of those tokens, which of course had some downward pressure on price. Excuse me. But moving forward, as I've always mentioned, that the value of the token is really in the business side of what we're doing with Talk2Expert, the education side, Talk2Expert, School Connect, digital payments, as well as on the solar business side. We've had, because of the slow start with the token, we've had to kind of rejig a little bit our timelines in terms of how we roll things out. We didn't raise the capital that we expected to raise with the initial coin offering, just because we had spent a better part of $350,000 on marketing and establishing the coin and getting on the exchange and all the things needed that to get the coin going. So now, to answer, Jackie, your question, is we're really focused in on bringing the business use case, the first one, Talk2Expert, online, and really marketing behind that, get that into a revenue generating mode, because basically every dollar that platform generates means that we have to back that with tokens out of the open market, because everything is all the payments to creators and whatnot is done with the token. So, for instance, if we do $10,000 in the first month, we'll take $10,000 of tokens out of the market and put it into the platform. If we do 100,000, you can quickly see the math. And so when you start to look at the value of the token, currently at our price today, the value of the token is somewhere around 650. The market cap is around 650,000. So you could just see that with still 2 or 3/5 of it, 3/5, so 60% still held within the corporation, which are going to be used for use cases. So 20% of the token, or about 200,000 or so, or sorry, 120,000, is out in the market. So if we have, $10, $20, $30,000 worth of revenue on the Talk2Expert side, that's a major percentage of the circulating population already. You'll automatically see a huge boost forward in terms of price. So you'll start to see us in social media start to talk about the experts. We'll be releasing some of those very soon. We're going to be starting to reveal the slate of courses that are going to be on the platform, and so you'll see the marketing push to start to drive the business side of it and get people excited about the platform. So when it is live, that we have users coming in. So that's the first marketing push. The second is now that we have the staking working, the bridge between Ethereum and Binance working as well, we'll start to again market slowly again across social media primarily in order to boost awareness. We'll do some more AMAs, not just locally here like what I'm doing today, but through other groups, because we need to reach other audiences that we've not reached before. At some point, once the revenue stream, we start to see the revenue start to go and we start to see some upward mobility again in the value of the token, we'll start to look at bringing certain influencers or evangelists is really what I like to call them, that will go out and evangelize both the token as well as the business use cases. We'll be driving the business use case pretty hard. Once it launches, we'll be adding more and more content month to month, and this is really in preparation of getting the main educational content in place, which is School Connect, which we are now targeting in the third quarter of 2022. If everybody remembers, we had an announcement with a company in Brazil that gives us access to 30 million students for the School Connect platform. I cannot tell you how big of a deal this is for us and an opportunity. So we're really focused on making sure that we'll have our first viable product launched in the third quarter. I think Jackie had a follow-up question here. Thanks for your clear answer. Do you have a date for Talk2Expert to go live? Unfortunately, I don't have a date. We are governed entirely by the content providers, because we're not generating the content, from our own library of experts or anything like this. These are people that are, wanting to bring their content to the platform. So I'm gated by, when they're ready to go. The content creation process is a little bit more involved, and there's a lot of interest in it. So many people want to do it, but they've never been a content producer. So, how do you set up for studio quality video and audio and all this stuff is a bit of a learning curve for some, and it's a bit of a roadblock in terms of speed in order to get the courses complete. So ideally, we're still a couple of weeks here. My best guess is we want to have at least 10 courses that are ready to go out of the gate, and once they get completed or along further along the timeline in terms of completeness, then I'll have confidence to disclose a date. Right now, our official target is still the end of February. Of course, that's only 7 days away. Practically, I'm telling you here now, that's probably not going to happen for us, just because we're still gated by the content producers. But expect that this is now our primary focus. We'll get that completed. I did end up spending better part of 3 weeks on the bridge. There's a lot of technical issues wrapped around that, so not as much focus was on the Talk2Expert side, both from the development community as well as my own focus. Now we're back at, really our primary focus is revenue generation on the Talk2Expert side. So it's getting those content producers in place, as well as filling out the platform. So we'll start to make updates now within a couple of days. The website will start to showcase a lot more information. So that's in progress now, and we'll get that launched shortly. Okay, any other questions? We had a lot of people talking about questions earlier today on the channel, but they don't seem to be here. Okay, so I'm going to go back to the website here and turn this one off again, and let's just get back to the bridge. So as you see, the process went all the way through, and we got a final transaction hash for the tokens moving from the bridge back into the wallet. And if now that I've switched my wallet, you can actually see that I had already tokens in there. See, does that show up as an activity? So if we look at contract, we can actually see what it is, and view on the block explorer the transaction. We can see that 98 million tokens moved. So the obvious question is going to be, well, I sent 99 million. And we have to remember that when you do any transfer on the Ethereum side, there's a 1% transaction fee tax that's charged. So that's why you only see 98 million and change on the BSC side. Now, on the Binance side, we don't have that 1% tax that we're charging. So it's if you send 1 million tokens, you receive 1 million tokens. And the reason that we did it this way is that because the operationally we're going to be putting the business units on BSC, and we didn't want to have these fluctuating balances and this inequity in terms of I've sent 100 but only got 99 and this type of things. So operationally it makes sense here to do it this way. Okay, so getting back to the bridge, the staking is just as easy. So if I go to stake ESB coin, The first thing it wants to do is make sure that we're connected. One other note that I want to make is that if anybody needs to go back to the previous staking page to close out their stakes, that's just done here through the legacy staking page. So we can go back and grab whatever. I can just click on stake here. It's going to ask me to connect to the wallet again. I'm going to sign, and it'll pop in exactly all the information that I have. So here's my total number of ESP tokens on the BSC side. Again, my balance in BNB. Currently, there's a little over 13 billion tokens already staked. So we expect that number to go up somewhere over 60 billion over the next short while. As I had sought from the investor community, the seed investors that they staked their tokens, and so we had commitments up to just over 60 billion tokens. So expect that number should go up dramatically over time. But again, it's as simple as I want to put in a stake for whatever that is. I can select 90, 180, or 365 days. If I want to have, say, I want the 70% APY, so over 180 days, it means that we'll have 35% gain because that's a half year. So half of 70 is 35 at the end of the stake. So I can just hit that stake, bring it up, confirm. And so I'm putting 10 million tokens into a stake. Now, unlike the previous stakes, there are no penalties involved here if you remove a stake early. So if you put in 10 million, I can instantly take 10 million out, no penalty. The only thing it costs me is the gas going in and out, which is pennies basically. So there's no harm there. So for those that are uncertain that they want to stake or not, this is a great option where you put it in for 90 days or 180 days, and if all of a sudden you see that there's a big change in the market, and say, look, I'd rather take my capture the market. Yeah, you can pull out the tokens, and you're not going to earn the interest because it hasn't hit the maturity date. But there's no penalty in doing that, right? But this is a great way to hedge yourself. That, well, let's see what happens, and if it takes longer, or the whole plan is to stake for a longer period of time, then at least your token is earning value in terms of getting more tokens. Once the stake is complete, you get to see your stake on the page here. I can end the stake, just click and end, and away we go, and I can pull them right back in. But I'll leave them in there for now. So let's go back to Telegram here. Let's see if there's any other questions. Not so far. And I don't have any chats coming in. That's odd. Everybody's talking about coming on earlier. Anyways, of course, over the last several weeks now, ever since really the hack from Bitmart, and we've seen the negative slide in the price, there has been virtually every day questions about, when are we pumping the coin? When is it going to go up? All these things. And I'm going to say this again, just because we're clear. We're not a pump style coin. There's no activity called pumping in our vernacular. We will be bringing value to the token through the use of the business case only. And this will be reflected by once revenue starts, we'll enact the buyback and burn plan, which will be taking tokens out of the market and putting liquidity in for the entire community to enjoy. We've always been a longer term play. I've said this a number of times at the beginning of, I think, January. I said, look, we're targeting the end of February of launching Talk2Expert, but still every day between then and now, we get the questions, when are you pumping the coin? And again, we're not pumping the coin. We're really looking at bringing value to the coin, and that's going to happen again with the business use case. And the way we do that, again, is just as I mentioned. And so we haven't entered that phase yet. That value generation has not happened. It will happen as soon as Talk2Expert comes online. And we're expecting that. Hopefully we're at the end of February here, but we're going to eke out into March. Pretty certain that's going to be the case, but that's the reality of it. But as soon as that business use case is online, we'll need to acquire tokens as revenue comes into the platform to pay the content creators immediately. So that's again part of this whole process. Our expectations is, really we're trying to drive, 10,000 subscriptions per month, $5 per subscription. That's $50,000. So if you think of that, $50,000 of tokens in the first month of operations, if we can get there, it's a sizable amount of the circulating tokens out there that will be taken off the market, and that just naturally will reduce the scarcity or increase the scarcity of the token, and therefore increase the value of the token. And that's really the economics behind this are very simple. When you look at the market cap for the amount of basically circulating float that we need to operate the platform, we'll naturally see a massive increase in the valuation of the token. And this is the first step. When School Connect comes out, we're talking on the order of I think $35 per student. So a year in terms of the amount of revenue that they'll run through the platform. Even at 100,000 students, that's $3.5 million of basically transaction that will run through the token. Well, that's orders of magnitude. That's 5-6 times our current market cap today, right? So the prospects are really really positive for where we're going. And as I said before, we're not deterred by this short-term or near-term reduction in price. We're focused in on bringing the business to market, and once these businesses start to produce revenue, everybody gets to enjoy it in the marketplace. If we do benefit from more token sales, and we're able to raise a little bit more capital for the corporation, this only accelerates the development, because it allows me to bring more developers on board, speeds up the onboarding teams, the marketing. We can increase the marketing to drive that token. I guess the last question is one that comes up a lot as well, is when are we listing on other exchanges? Why are we only on Bitmart? So exchange listings are, from our experience, have been quite expensive. And so right now we're counting our pennies basically. And we also need to make sure that we're hitting certain thresholds. We need to spread the number of users that are out there. We have a few hundred out there, or a few thousand in Bitmart, whatever that number may be. But we've got to get that number in the 10,000 range, where we have some significant holders out there, and we have volume in the token. That makes it attractive for other exchanges to take us on. I understand that it's a chicken and an egg thing. If we add more exchanges, then we'll automatically get more holders. So there's a sweet spot somewhere in between there, but we're not there yet. And I truly believe that what will change things is once the use case comes online with Talk2Expert, naturally we're going to want to add a couple of exchanges, just because we need to provide a mechanism for, for instance, in Vietnam, local residents to convert fiat currency into cryptocurrency in order to utilize the platform, or or vice versa, where content creators who have been paid in cryptocurrency in ESP want to convert their tokens back to real world money, and so that we'll be highly incentivized to open up more exchanges at that point. But everything goes through a sequence, and the sequence being, we've got the bridging, we've got the staking. We're looking for those, strategic investors that have a longer term view that will come on board, acquire more tokens, helps us out a whole lot more. We're focusing on bringing on the business use cases, start to drive revenue, value, which means that we're putting liquidity back into the Coinbase, adding value. That will increase the value. And these things all have a thing of snowballing, right? So we get that ball rolling, it gets bigger and bigger and bigger over hopefully not too long a period of time. But when you look at our business model, everything we've talked about really from day one, everything's about the use cases. And so the use cases is that critical point where it gets us that critical mass to do all the other things that the community is really aching for. We hear you really clearly that they want other listings, and we want them too. It just has to happen at the right time. Okay. Jackie's also asking, I saw that there's a plan to move from ESP token to a native ESP coin in the roadmap. Are there any changes about this? No, that's a real world priority for us, but it happens well after the use cases are active with Talk2Expert, School Connected digital payments, and potentially some of the solar-based projects. And the reason for wanting to do a native coin mostly is because we want to have a better control on costs in terms of gas fees. Two is that we want to have an inbuilt governance system where we can use that in the solar-based projects, as well as the completely decentralized version of Talk2Expert. And so this building out of a fairly complex ecosystem of a native coin that has some enhanced functionality is not to be taken lightly. It's not something that this is one day or a couple of weeks of development. This is several man months of development work in order to bring that to fruition. We're not there yet. We don't have that critical mass. But it is very much on our roadmap, and we expect to get there now, probably no later than 2023. I think 2022 now, the way that it's scheduled out, we get Talk2Expert now happening in the next couple of weeks. Digital payments following sometime after that with the agreements that we have in East Africa that we'd like to execute on. And then, of course, ramping up and working towards the first product release for School Connect in the August timeframe. That gets us, that's a pretty full year for us. What happens after August is, of course, once School Connect is operating both in Brazil, Vietnam, potentially Philippines, some African countries as well, is the fact that you're running onboarding teams, you're building out the market, there's lots of marketing activity to grow those things, especially in Vietnam, because there we're going to be growing organically, private school to private school. Same kind of thing that we're doing in Brazil. On the UAE side, so in Dubai, our hopes is that we finalize our agreement and get that deployed at the ministry level, so all schools will have that. But again, that's that's a work in progress. But that from the August timeframe to December, where we're trying to get several million students under our belt. That's going to be the primary focus for the remainder of the year. So I don't see the native token coming out until 2023 sometime. So again, it's on the long-term roadmap. We will definitely get there, but it won't be in 2022. All right. Any other questions from the team here? Okay. Let me just flip through the remainder of or some of the previous questions, so make sure I covered off on anything. But I mean, it's the typical thing. We want to be able to do more marketing. We want to get more exposure. We want to get on more exchanges. I understand, and I feel for investors. They all get nervous, even though they're in for the long-term play. Nobody likes to see a reduced value token. Certainly we don't, because that also limits the ability for us to raise any capital for accelerating operations. So we want to be able to get there. We will look at some strategic partnerships as well in order to elevate things more quickly. But the mindset is, a really large chunk of the, I'm going to say, the investor community are what I would term as day traders. So they have a focus of getting onto a token, hopefully that would grow and have a short-term benefit. They haven't done a ton of due diligence on what we are and how we're doing. It's almost a little bit like a lottery, and that's the nature of cryptocurrency. And then we have a subset then of investors that understand what our business prospects are, like what we're doing. Talk2Expert, they're on side. School Connect, and if you look at a lot of the chatter on Telegram and our other channels, there's a real love for the educational side of things. When I personally go out and speak about the different platforms, everybody is saying, when is it ready? When can I see it? When is it out there? So we really have a captive audience that we want to take advantage of. We want to be able to get on side, but it's an opportunity it's to be had, and we're working really hard to get that in place. It's a fairly monumental effort. To date, we've done a lot of internal development. Everything's been virtually funded personally for the platforms. We did spend a lot of money. Again, we had money that came in from seed investors, but that was strictly targeted at the token, getting it marketed, getting it onto the exchanges, getting it certified, all those things. And it's where we are today. So now the focus has moved away from the token in terms of what we're doing from a development standpoint, but to get to a point where now we're focused on the value generation side. That's all that's really mattered, is that we get those business units. It's driving value in the token, because that's really to the benefit of everybody. And it also gives us that, makes us sustainable, gives us growth, legitimizes everything that we talked about, because, I can appreciate that, there hasn't been a business case that's active yet. So, it's vaporware, if you want to call it that, until it's real. So it's in the next couple of weeks here that we make this real for everybody. All right. Okay. All right. Well, if there's no more questions coming across the chat, appreciate everybody spending the time. If this was a useful time for you, please subscribe to the various channels, whether it's Telegram, Medium, here on Facebook, or certainly YouTube. The more the merrier. Helps us out, gets the word out. But also feel free to continue messaging in Telegram. I will do my best to answer any of the outstanding questions. I try to drop in as much as I can. I've probably been away a little bit more than usual, just because we've been so focused on, getting over some real technical hurdles with the bridge. If anybody's interested in, I can go through the details on all the horror story that ended up being. But certainly, we're open about that and the challenges we have. And moving forward, now, as I said, the focus is on Talk2Expert. We're trying to get that done as quick as possible. It's in the coming weeks. I don't think we're going to make for a week from now, but content's being produced as we speak, and we'll get it finalized and start producing value and revenue very soon. Okay, thanks everybody. Just last check to see no additional questions. Have yourself a great day, and thanks for being a supporter of ESP, and we look forward to seeing you next time.